What's going on, guys? We are Tottenham TV here with less than 24 hours of the transfer window left to go. We have so much to talk about on the transfer news today. A lot has happened. A lot is still breaking through. We'll start with the good news. The news that looks like is most likely to happen. Sky Sports, here we go. Giovanni Lo Celso. Tottenham make new £55 million bid. And they continue talks with Bruno Fernandes. This is a story. Last updated here looks like at 5:30. Tottenham have made a new bid for Real Betis midfielder Giovanni Lo Celso, while talks are ongoing with Sporting Lisbon over signing Bruno Fernandes, according to Sky sources. Sky Sports News understands Real Betis value Lo Celso nearer to £64 million, and he also has an £88 million release clause. We obviously knew that already. We've agreed the deal about 180,000 times during the window, and we've been accustomed to these what Real Betis won, but looks like with 24 hours to go, we're going for one final push for Lo Celso, and it might just go over the line. Lo Celso is intent on sealing a move to North London, and Tottenham are eager to complete a deal before the transfer deadline of 5 p.m. on Thursday. The former PSG player will not play in the Real Betis friendly tonight against Las Palmas, according to Sky Sports News. That's what they've been told, which that is a big news. The fact that he's now not going to be playing the friendly, and that looks like this deal could really now have legs. It could really be done finally after this long protracted deal, when we even bid for him before we bid for Ndombele. If you remember, we bidded 53 million like in the middle of June, a long time ago. And it's taken us till this point, 24 hours for the window, for Spurs to blink, it seems. I think looks like we're chasing him. Looks like we're wearing Real Betis down for a while. And it looks like this could finally get done. It says in July, Tottenham put negotiations for the midfielder on hold after the two clubs were unable to agree a fee. Though Celso has recently made his move to Betis permanent after spending the last season on loan from PSG, and his current deal runs until 2023. He scored 16 goals. Okay, so we'll go into the other stories at the moment, but I'm very excited about this deal. I think, as I said before, I think he's a good player, versatile, has qualities, what Pochettino wanted. He's an Argentine, hardworking. What it means for other deals, we'll get into in a minute, but this is I think this is a very positive move from Spurs. I think to get this deal over the line is great news for Tottenham, but the impact it'll have on other deals, maybe, I think the news of other deals could have been a kind of smokescreen to try and force Betis into selling, into lowering their fee maybe slightly, to get this deal over the line. To be honest, the deal has not yet been agreed. That's not what Sky Sports is saying. They're just saying we've made a new bid and that Lo Celso won't play in the friendly tonight. All indications kind of point towards a deal being done before the window, but a deal hasn't been agreed yet. We should say that talks apparently still remain with Bruno Fernandes, but as of early in the morning today, there haven't been any updates on that. According to Sky Sports Israel, Sporting Lisbon wants €70 million, which is around £65 million, which is similar to what Real Betis are demanding for Giovanni Lo Celso. So can I see us getting both? It remains to be seen. Look, we gave you all the positive news yesterday on Paulo Dybala and on Philippe Coutinho, so let's go into the stories regarding those two players. We'll start with Paulo Dybala, because the latest news coming from him is from Fabrizio Romano, who is the Sky Italy journalist who reported over the news yesterday that Tottenham have agreed a fee with Juventus, which is reportedly true, of £64 million. Paulo Dybala's agent has been in talks with Tottenham, meeting today, but still no agreement with the Argentinian. Wage commissions and also image rights are the biggest problem, and he also reports that Spurs are also in advanced talks for Giovanni Lo Celso. Now, reportedly, this deal could cost Tottenham over 5 years, a reported £165 million, which could be the sticking point. There are worries that this deal could prove to be too expensive for Tottenham, and there's other reports from The Guardian also saying that Paulo Dybala, people saying it's Dybala. Apparently we call him Dybala, and a lot of comments saying it's Dybala. So, all right, Paulo Dybala is demanding 350 grand a week. Now, he demanded that out of Man United, so it shouldn't be, if that is true, we shouldn't be shocked by that, which is comes as a surprise that if it is true, why we didn't anticipate he would demand such high wages. There are other reports that Spurs are prepared to offer him 250 grand a week plus bonuses, which apparently he was willing to accept because he was more willing to join Tottenham than he was to join Man United. There are other reports now saying 350 grand a week is what he's demanding. There are other reports from the Gazzetta in Italy saying that he has even rejected a move to Tottenham. It's all up in the air at the moment. It doesn't look so likely, I'm not going to lie, from the reports that he's now... It looks like these image rights that he's sold, because he sold his image rights to a private company and they're negotiating for a really high fee. So it looks like that is the big sticking point in this deal. No, according to anything official just yet, Sky Italy, as I said, Fabrizio Romano, hasn't reported any rejection as of yet from Spurs. It looks like the talks are still ongoing. Look, we're all crossing our fingers this can get done. At the moment, I'm putting it around 25% that this deal is going to get done. It looks unlikely at the moment. And it's possible that this deal was leaked just to get bettors to force their hand on Giovanni Lo Celso. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Look, I'm hoping this deal can get done. I mean, it's not the first time Tottenham have done a deal kind of like that. I remember Aguero a few years ago. We made a bid on deadline day with seemingly no chance of ever getting him, but we just seemed to put our bid to kind of try and show that we have some sort of ambition. Is this the same thing? I'm not sure. Look, we did agree a deal with Juventus for 65 million. It does seem like we were very interested in him. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. There's still 24 hours to go, but apparently time constraints, the image rights, and his wage demands look like all pointing in the wrong direction for Tottenham. So that's a bit disappointing in that sense. But if we can get Giovanni Lo Celso in, that wouldn't be the end of the world. In regards to Philippe Coutinho, we'll go to that story. Philippe Coutinho rejects Tottenham loan move as Tottenham work on Paulo Dibala. So Sky Sports is still saying that Dibala is an ongoing issue. Nothing final has happened just yet. But with Philippe Coutinho, it looks like this deal is now dead. Philippe Coutinho has rejected a loan move to Spurs, making a return to the Premier League unlikely before Thursday's window. Both Barcelona and the player would prefer a permanent deal, but it is unlikely any Premier League team will match the £80 million price tag. Tottenham boss Pochettino did call Philippe Coutinho in an effort to convince him to join England. Sky Sports understands, but the 27-year-old who enjoyed a successful 6-month loan spell under Pochettino at Espanyol will not be reunited with his old boss. It is understood few teams can match Barcelona's valuation of Brazilian international, who they signed for 142 million. Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Tottenham are working to find an agreement on Paulo Dybala, according to Sky in Italy. So it looks like the sticking points there is the loan deal didn't quite work out for both parties. Apparently, Tottenham weren't quite happy with paying a £25 million loan fee for Philippe Coutinho, which makes sense. And we're not prepared to go for the full 80 million on a permanent transfer, considering he's on 290 grand a week wages as well. I think if the loan deal was with an option to buy and with Barcelona paying Coutinho's wages, then maybe that was the viable option. But it looks like Barcelona were looking now for a more permanent switch, and Tottenham weren't prepared to follow through on that. So that's a shame. But as me and my brother, we spoke about Coutinho in the transfer window yesterday, we weren't that excited about the deal. Look, we said if he was the only option, then we would more than happily bring him in. I think it would be a good deal, but we're not so disheartened about this deal. We think he's quite an inconsistent player anyway, and if it would have been done, great, him plus another one. But if it was just going to be Coutinho, that would have kind of papered over the cracks. So I'm not too worried about this deal not happening. But there you go. Philippe Coutinho is not going to be joining Spurs this summer. The loan deal will not be happening. And the final story, which of course you heard by now, that was reported earlier in the day, this is from the BBC, and it was also reported on Sky Sports News. Man United held talks with Tottenham midfielder Christian Eriksen, but he favours a La Liga move. So looks like Christian Eriksen has turned down a move to Man United. We'll read the story. Man United held talks with Tottenham midfielder Christian Eriksen, but believe he wants to move to Spain. Eriksen, who scored 66 goals in 277 appearances for Spurs, but said in June he might want a new challenge. United have halted discussions with the Dane, who has 1 year left of his contract, and it was previously linked with Real Madrid. The Old Trafford has spent 140 million on Maguire, 1% on Daniel James. United remain in talks with other potential targets before the window closes. Sky Sports have said that the talks are now ended between Tottenham and United for Christian Eriksen. If I can just get the story up here, where is it? Tottenham end interest with Christian Eriksen, and we were quite negative about this potential deal yesterday, saying that if Eriksen is to move to Spurs and he's not going to sign a deal, I don't think it's a good move for him to sign to United. It wouldn't make sense for him to sign for United in their current state, and it would be quite disappointing for him to say he wanted a new challenge and he only wanted to join Real Madrid, and then for him to turn around and say, yeah, I'm going to go to Man United. So the whole deal didn't really seem to make sense, and so it has come to pass that Eriksen will not be joining Man United this summer. It looks like it's either Real Madrid. It looks like he's going to be holding out for that move to Real Madrid. It looks like now Pogba won't be joining Real Madrid. It looks because they had a bid rejected. I think it was 30 million plus James Rodriguez for Pogba. Man United weren't interested in that deal. Eriksen won't be joining Man United. That's positive for Spurs. Will he sign? That's the question. Looks like at the end of the window tomorrow, Eriksen is going to be a Tottenham player. Looks like we're also going to get Giovanni Lo Celso over the line. Here's how I still see the window from my point of view, what I think is going to be a good window. If Tottenham, looks like we're in the market for Dibala, Lo Celso and Bruno Fernandes, those three players before the end of the window tomorrow. If we can get two of those players in and Eriksen leaves, that would be an absolutely fantastic window. I'll be really, really happy with how things have gone, and I would have no complaints whatsoever, even if we don't get a fullback. And I think if we get two of those players, any two, before the end of the window, and Eriksen leaves, I would be pretty happy with that. If we get only one of those players in the window and Eriksen decides to stay and signs a contract, great window. I think that's another situation where I think the window has been absolutely fantastic. I think we can walk away saying that we've had an absolutely brilliant window, and we can have no complaints if that's the situation. If we sign one of those players and Eriksen stays and doesn't sign a contract, I think it's a good window, but it's nothing spectacular. I don't think it's great. I think it's like a good 7 out of 10 kind of window if that happens. I think it'll be good to have one of those players in and, have one last year with Eriksen where he'll be probably going on a free if that's the case, which would be disappointing, but at least, we'll have a year with him to try and push on and win a trophy in his last year and maybe push on for big things. He could maybe leave on a high, and I think if Spurs were to win a big trophy, I don't think anyone would begrudge Eriksen leaving on a free if that was the case. So I think if we were to sign one of the three players we've been linked with and Eriksen stays and doesn't sign a contract, it's still okay, but not great. However, if we do sign one of the players we've been linked with and Eriksen leaves before the end of the window, then I would say it's been an average window. You have to say that because all that would have happened really is we've replaced Moussa Dembele with Ndombele, which is fantastic. And we've replaced Eriksen with either Lo Celso, Dybala or Fernandes. So it's kind of like for like. So you can't really say we've improved too much. You could say maybe we've improved a bit, but you wouldn't be able to say that it's been a great, absolutely fantastic window if that was to happen. You would just say it's just like for like. So it would have kind of been as you were, maybe, from when Dembele was at Spurs, if that was the case. So it wouldn't be too much to write home about, but I guess it wouldn't be a disaster. Now, if we don't sign anyone and Eriksen leaves, that is a disaster. Or if we don't sign anyone and Eriksen stays and doesn't sign a contract, that's also a disaster. So there's a lot to be done in these last 24 hours of the window. It's less than 24 hours to be decided of how this window is going to go. What I have a feeling is going to happen is we're going to sign, my prediction anyway, we're going to sign one of the players we've been linked with, and Eriksen's going to stay and not sign a contract. That's how I see things going, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but it wouldn't be spectacular. It would be in an okay window. It would be decent. I wouldn't be too unhappy with that, but I also wouldn't be absolutely over the moon with that if that was the case. So let us know in the comments below what you think the last 24 hours holds for this transfer window. Are you gutted about the Coutinho rejection? Did you really want him at Spurs? Do you think Dibala has any legs? Is that going to get over the line, or do you think that's too unlikely now? Celso looks like this is the one that's really a goer, seeing as he's not playing in the Betis friendly tonight. How happy are you that looks like that could finally be getting over the line after the longest protracted transfer in history? Let us know in the comments below. Ryan Sessegnon, we didn't even mention him. Nothing much has happened with him in the last 24 hours. Do you think even he could get over the line? And do you think Eriksen will stay and sign a contract? Or do you think he's going to leave on a free and hold out for that move to Real Madrid? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like our content. And as always, come on you Spurs.